She's beautiful. Congratulations.
Hey there. Guess I'm gonna have to figure out what to call you. Thank you.
Why are we doing this, listeners? What have you taken from me? What have you taken from me? That's right. Say the name.
Gotham Chronicle.
That's right. You're listening to the Gotham Chronicle podcast, powered by the BatmanUniverse.net. Check out the Batman Universe for this and many other Batman podcasts. I'm Josh, with only 2 episodes left to go, and joining me is...
It's Donovan.
Don Wardo.
Jan Wardo.
Jan Wardo.
Yes. It's canon.
I really wish Bane came earlier if I knew we'd get Eduardo out of this. And Mario, and making Mario jokes at the same time.
Eduardo, Mario. I hate every name that ends with an O.
Mariardo.
Mario.
Gordon, would you like some Cheerios? Cheerios.
He just shoots the box.
Stay safe. I'm gonna put even more holes in these Cheerios. And we're off to a running start.
This is the episode.
Yeah. Jan, please change your name on Facebook to Jan Wardo.
I would, except it says I can only change it one more time.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I've changed it like 4 times, and it's like, you can only change your name one more time, and that will be your last change. I'm like, fuck you, Facebook.
What if you get
I was
married?
changing it every other week. I'm not going to change it. I don't even have my real name up there now. Yes, my full last name is Al Ghul.
That's what I've been trying to tell you. So this episode was called I Am Bane, and Donovan has the fake recap. Or is it real? We'll find out.
Okay.
Okie dokie. In this episode, it's like it's like the eve of Unification Day, where Gotham's been going, I guess, for a few months, decently crime free, and the environment's been getting better. So
the green zone is stretching across coast to coast.
So like the government sends in like General Wade, who I believe is from the comics, DC Comics, not just Batman comics, and like to inspect things. And things look good. And then like all of a sudden, Shane West in a robot costume shows up and kidnaps Wade, Bruce, and Gordon. Meanwhile, Riddler, Penguin, and Barbara have their submarine ready to set sail, but Barbara goes to the hospital to get like a checkup, and Riddler and Penguin realize that they're missing a key ingredient, realizing that she's taking it. And Barbara is about to give birth. She's gone into labor, and Lee phones Jim saying, you better get down here. And that's like when he's right before he's kidnapped.
Yep.
So they Gordon and Bruce wake up after being knocked out, and they see some freak who thinks he's Bane, and the secret mastermind behind everything, Jamie Murray. Anyway, she has Shane West beat up Gordon much to our pleasure, wanting Bruce to figure out why she wants revenge, and he eventually, oh yeah, you're Alexander Siddique's daughter. Bingo! Still beat up Gordon, and she also wants revenge.
Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul. As though the audience didn't know who he was.
Okay, go ahead.
So, she says, "Oh, I don't want just revenge on you, but also Barbara Keene, because somehow she knows precisely how it went down, which is interesting."
I mean, the League has eyes everywhere. I would imagine.
Imagine's the word. So Gordon says, "No, wait, she's pregnant," and Bane calls him petty, and then says he's still going to kill her. They're at the hospital. Riddler and Penguin run interference on the encroaching League of Assassin members. Barbara literally shoots her pregnant ass out of a wheelchair, But and then she gives birth to a little baby girl, not a baby boy. Take that, Frank Miller. Although it wasn't his idea.
Take that, Tony, from those Golden Age comics.
Yeah, serial massager Tony. So Bane shows up to kill Barbara Keene, and I guess everyone else. Alfred and Selina arrive to the rescue, and Alfred is immediately, as you might imagine, Alfred the butler Pennyworth versus Bane. Who's going to win in a contest between that?
It went just as well as it did in Nightfall.
Yeah, exactly. Which was off screen. At the same time, Bruce breaks free of his bonds. Gordon was shipped off to turn into like basically a monster man by Hugo Strange. Strange accidentally pumped him full of like steroids. So Ben McKenzie gets the shock of his life and like takes out Strange before, although Strange manages to sound the alarm off. He rescues the kidnapped general. They go back to headquarters. The general says everything is fine, and so bomb Gotham City.
Yeah, they just bombed the entire city. So
yeah, like the show's over. This is the last episode. Gotham's dead.
So Gotham City's covered.
They ended with 2 episodes to spare.
Meanwhile, like I don't think I mentioned, Shane West breaks Alfred's back.
You did.
I like how you call Shane West instead of Bane.
Shane West, the actor, broke Sean Pertwee's back in real life.
No. Shane West, the actor, broke Alfred Pennyworth's back. Like he went into the actual TV show, picked him up, and threw him against the post.
He did it to Sean Pertwee, and like it wasn't in the script, and the production team's like, what's going on? I don't know, but keep the cameras rolling. We could use this.
Not call the police. Not when
call the bloody hospital. Okay, good, Sean. Now say it with more feeling. Now I'm serious.
I'm losing all feeling in my legs.
Cameron, do something. No. Her name's Selina.
So while actors and characters are getting mixed up, as they do, I guess every episode we do this podcast, Gotham is blown to smithereens. The end.
Well, don't forget the siren scene too.
Which scene?
The siren scene with Nissa.
Oh yeah,
and all the ladies that were like, why isn't Barbara using these ladies? Oh, they're dead.
Yeah, off screen, because it's easy to just do that, because the greatest assassins in the world get killed off screen without any trouble by like one person. Thank Christ Shiva wasn't in this. Could you imagine? Oh no, Shiva, we were too late.
No, but think about it though. It is good because they would have to actually pay a choreographer to make like an epic fight scene, and nobody wants to see one of those outside of Into the Badlands.
I was just making the joke that like they're all like shocked that they're dead, and it's like, what? No, they've been dead for months. Where do you think they've been this whole time? Like, oh yeah,
they died of starvation.
Please give us storylines and something to do. Like, it was Barbara's loaded gun that like she never fired. Like to the point where like she's in the hospital and it's like just her and Lee and Riddler and Penguin like against
we need muscle
Bane,
to help protect us. Like, get your friends.
Aren't you leading an army of like super assassin ninjas that like you haven't used this whole year?
She didn't even employ them to help. Like they could have probably helped her get off Gotham.
Well, ninjas, help me! We know you were going to leave us on that submarine. Sorry. New phone. Who dis?
Are we getting to the critique now? Is this part of our review? Because it sounds like it is.
I think it is.
Critiquing this show. I mean, let's be honest.
What do we want to go over first?
Bane.
Okay, I think you and Jan have more to say about Bane than I do.
Why not? Why is that, Josh? Like, do you have no sense of dignity? What kind of bad fan are you? Oh, Bane was a character in this show. He fucking sucked.
Here's the thing, though. It's always like I feel like you guys have more feelings towards this. It's like, did you not watch the episode? Do you like what is it that there is not to say about this character, Josh?
I feel like you guys have more to say about him. To me, it was like, okay, that's sure is their version of Bane, but like, there's really not much I can add to it. Like, he didn't upset me or offend me. He sounded ridiculous, and I love it when Gordon says Eduardo.
And the croaked frog voice. Well, it's like, how can they get the Joker, Riddler, and Penguin so right and Bane so wrong? I don't understand that. I mean, he shouldn't be in the bloody show anyway, but like, yeah, because like this is another one of those, let's take one of Batman's personal villains, who knew his identity and came into his own home and cracked his back. Oh no, he's an old friend of Gordon's and he wants to. Fuck you, Gotham. Like, why? Like, how needless was that?
That part doesn't bother me though.
It feels like they were doing their version of The Dark Knight Rises, and like if you've never read Nightfall and all you know of Bane is The Dark Knight Rises, this fits. That's not a defense. That's just my understanding of what I think they're trying
Bruce
to
Wayne,
do here.
Not Gordon.
Well, yeah, but that's been the entire series. Like Mad Hatter,
Gordon is Bruce Wayne in this. Like not Bruce Wayne, but like he's the focal point. They're giving him everything. Which makes sense for this show.
I'm going to protest that. I see that perspective, but it's like, you still have things like, Azrael and James Fran and the Order of Saint Dumas and Jeremiah or whichever Joker version it was. So they've carved out space.
He said Jeremiah wrong.
I don't whatever, but like they carved out space for like Bruce to have focus. But it's like, in the final season, we're going to shove in Bane, rush his development, and make him like, Jim's in me. And it's like, well, I didn't ask for that. I didn't pay for that. And that's not, there's no precedent for that exactly. I mean, I see in season 3 why, okay, let's introduce the Mad Hatter, and since Gordon's the main character, let's have him go up against him. In season 5, episode 7 or 10, I mean, I think we've run into this rut where it's like, oh, okay, well, it's Gotham, what do you expect? But it's not that they do this every episode. So, like, I wonder why they resort to this sort of, like, this, like, crook of writing, cliches. Or maybe so much cliches, just, like, kind of a desperation move when they don't do it every other time. I'm not even so much that angry. I'm watching this and I'm like, this just feels like a waste of time. We have other important things to do, like Barbara Gordon being born, rather than Shane West, the skinniest Bane in the universe, not looking embarrassing himself.
It's true. He's so small. I was just looking at him like, oh man, you guys couldn't even like fetch for like the, what is it?
Like prosthetics.
The muscle snip they had in the movie. In the movie with Uma Thurman.
Mm-hmm. I know that like that guy was actually a bodybuilder, and he like died a year after that movie came out because I guess he was like unhealthily like big or whatever.
He was like a wrestler, I think.
Yeah, Jeep Swenson. I remember when he died. I was like, oh, and it was like very soon after.
I thought he was like a muscle suit because his muscles did not look. He looked cartoonish.
No, that was all him, but it was unhealthy.
That was 100% man, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he died of like some unrelated cause, but like that was a real guy. Which when I went to Warner Brothers archives last week, like they had like the actual photograph that like from the movie where Bane is in like the trench coat and like the fedora with Poison Ivy getting off of the plane.
Yeah, that's probably the worst version of this.
I blocked out that movie, by the way, because I was just so mad at everything in it.
I can't understand why. Well, I mean, the point. I think Jan's point still stands. Why? Because when he's shirtless and BD Wong is like, digging into his skin and all that kind of stuff. Like, we can't tell he's supposed to be super strong. It's just because of the mask and the name recognition of the character. It's like, I mean, this is. I would say.
Well, he does pump him full of venom.
I would argue that this is probably the weakest effort they gave any of the major named villains. Because I don't like Mad Hatter, but at least Mad Hatter is pretty on register with like his modus operandi of mind control and like rhyming and stuff like that. I can't argue that that's not the Mad Hatter.
I mean, let's look at the lesser villains that we've had the pleasure of meeting. Professor Pig was absolutely beautiful. Mm-hmm. And then you had Firefly even was good. Firebug.
Firefly, yeah.
No, you were right, Firefly. Which I guess they took her territory off screen because like she was one of the cliffhanger villains of season 4, like do a ring of fire everywhere, and now this episode it's like the green zone is covered the entire city.
I don't think she and Freeze have appeared this season, right?
No.
Nobody
Even though he started off kind of like weak, was good too.
It's funny because. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying he just came into his own for the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because some of those actors from like that any montage, there's like when they weren't sure if Gotham was going to get renewed or not after season 4, the actress that played Firefly posted like a picture of her and like Mr. Freeze and like one of the other like minor villains. I can't believe I'm saying minor villains with Mr. Freeze, and with the caption, "We're waiting to find out. We're waiting to find out if we still have jobs next season," because like they weren't sure if they're getting renewed, and it's like, good news, you're renewed, but you're not coming back. But yeah, all those people from that cliffhanger, like Man Bats, like all those people who took over the zones, they did not get their episodes because of the gutted season order. But in a way, that was probably a good thing. But I think that like that's why they had that gap between after Ace Chemicals and like this episode, in case more episodes were ordered, so they can like fit them in this time skip. Because originally, had those extra 2 episodes not been ordered, this would have aired immediately after Ace Chemicals. Like, we would not have had, like, that Jim Gordon gets shot episode and the Scarface episode. Like, imagine seeing this episode.
That's how I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, me too. Imagine seeing this episode immediately after Ace Chemicals.
Sad, though. If we didn't have that Scarface episode, I would have been so sad. It was so good.
And that's another thing, too. Like, Jim and Lee are married in this episode based on, like, what was filmed later. But as this episode was written and shot, it was not written and shot with the idea that Jim and Lee were married. So, like, when he's saying, I'm having a baby and, like, I love you, like, they're written as boyfriend and girlfriend. And that's why Barbara's like, it's your Auntie Lee. And I'm like, but wouldn't it be your stepmom?
Well, I mean, also, and I think this lends credence to, like, the massive hiatuses. It kind of gives the viewer who's watching from week to week a sense that more time has passed than was filmed, because, like, you know, she's giving birth. Whereas, how many episodes was it where we revealed that she was pregnant in the first place? Was it like 3 episodes?
Remember, it was like they skipped a month in one episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 month, not 9.
Well, had we not had those extra 2 episodes, this would have been what would have happened. At the end of episode 6, she says she's pregnant. Then we have Ace Chemicals, where like it's like, all right, we'll build the submarine. And then we would have had this episode where 2 episodes after she reveals she's pregnant, she gives birth. Because, like, had it not been for those extra 2, the last thing we would have seen is, like, Penguin's whole, like, so who's the father? Shut up. And then the next time we see them is this week, where, like, Barbara gets out of the car looking like a beach ball, and they're, like, ready to board the submarine.
Give me my part! Don't point that at the baby! Well, I didn't mean...
That was some of my favorite... Go ahead.
Oh, that was so good.
I love Robin Lord Taylor's horrified expression. Like,
That was genuinely funny. We're like, he was like, I would never. I mean, I was. Like, just give me what I want. Just this petulant kid.
And Jan, your ship.
Yes. You stabbed me first, and I'm just like, yeah, she did. Yes, she did. Look at those eyes that you're making at each other. Marriage, man. We know who the better couple is. Foxma for life. I mean, Lee.
Man, Corey Michael Smith is on a lot of ships. And in this episode, he's about to escape on the literal ship.
He retweeted something that like Chelsea Spack was doing this week. He's like, "Hooray, she's in something."
Well, I think that they are like good friends in real life.
Are they dating?
I thought they were dating like a couple years ago, and I feel that because he's bisexual, so I feel that like they could have been.
Oh, okay. Because I thought that he was like straight up gay, but I didn't know he was bisexual.
No, he was dating her for a while.
Okay.
Because I remember like them like there's a picture of them on Instagram like holding hands as they were watching, looking very lovely together. But yeah, I know in an interview he talked about like him being bisexual, so like.
Well, that's nice that you know, even though they dated, he still like supports her projects. Like they didn't end badly.
I mean, actually, technically, I don't even know if they're broken up. I mean, they could be, but I don't know.
It's like this whole thing where I don't know what's wrong with our society, where it's like, oh my god, that's your ex. How can you even talk with them? And I'm like, I'm just like side-eyeing Dawn.
Well, but that's like the exception to the rule. Like that's like less than like 10% of the cases probably. That's why I'd be surprised and like, oh, that's nice about it.
That's an interesting point. What were we talking about again? I think I actually kind of derailed us with the Penguin.
Yeah, we were talking about Bane, but I mean, really, like, I'm gonna leave the Bane thing to you guys because I really don't have much to say about him. Like, I'm not gonna defend it because, yeah, like, this is not the Bane from the comics, but like, after 5
I don't
seasons,
think the Bane from the comics. It's just a really bad copy of Tom Hardy.
Yeah, no, that is exactly right. That is exactly right, and like,
complete with the voice.
I didn't even really care. Okay. I don't have so much hate for this. I didn't really care for those movies, and I've said it a lot. I didn't really care for how Bane was done in the movies, and I really didn't want to see it redone here.
Well, I mean, I think that it was a very uninspired adaptation here. Because they hyped this up. They were like, like in the trailers, you'll be the Bane of our enemies. Oh my God, it's Bane. That has so much promise. Can you imagine what it's going to be so cool? And it's just like filling in, I mean, there's much more to Bane than like his strength. He is a very intelligent guy. He's generally not a henchman. I know we talked about this before. I think
that's what makes me mad.
I think he's way more of a lackey in this than he was in Dark Knight Rises. But like,
agreed.
Generally speaking, like, there's no reason to like. He's just a pumped up lackey in this. There's no real reason to be interested in this version. And again, I think Shane West does the best with what he's given. I'm not necessarily mad at him, but the poor guy just isn't tough looking enough. He looks stupid in that robot costume, and he comes off as like parodic, where he's like, I am Bane. It's like, what is that supposed to mean? Like, because you're not the Bane from the comics who kills everybody who happens to trip in front of him. You're not even Tom Hardy who like beat the shit out of Christian Bale on screen. Like,
he is the Bane of injustice.
I'd rather see Jamie.
Bane of what did she say?
The Bane of Gotham.
The Bane of. It was something like the Bane of the oppressed. The Bane of the.
I'd rather see Jamie Murray become Bane because that would be kind of interesting. Like she actually had strange.
That would be really weird.
That would be very strange. I mean, I'd just be like, okay, you're being progressive, making it a woman, sure. But yeah, no, I understand. Like, look, Tom Sawyer has come a long way from the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I got that reference. Tom Sawyer, American Army.
Neither of you have made this reference, and I was like, dude, he's been in a comic book movie already. He was Tom Sawyer from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, looked up to Sean Connery.
And then Sean Connery says, am I supposed to be impressed?
The worst.
The Invisible Man, and they made Mina Murray into like a vampire, and all that. I was sleeping on the wheel of not referencing that, but like because again he looks older, he looks like an adult. I don't know. It's just
so he's acting well. I've already made that reference. Anywho, but no, like if this is really. Like, the Bane in Tom Hardy was formidable. He bulked up for that role. Like, even if I didn't agree with the fact that he was, yeah, and also, like, a lackey. But, like, at least he was, like, a leader lackey and not, like, a puppet lackey.
That's another thing too. The movie version, or even in Batman and Robin, he was Poison Ivy's bitch. Like, he's never the top boss.
Yeah, and the only time I've ever seen him be a top boss is in the comics and the animated series.
I mean, even the animated series, he's kind of hired by Rupert Thorne, and then
Gordon. He's hired. He's hired, so he's not a lackey. It's his job.
He was an assassin, yeah.
So
the funny thing...
That's like calling, what's his name? Deathstroke a lackey because he kills people for money. It's a little different.
Right.
The funny thing... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying, because I was just letting you know that I was done.
The funny thing, too, is this whole thing of, like, him using this mask to breathe, that's purely from the Nolan movies, because, like, there's no other version of Bane that I can think of from the comics or anything where, like, the mask is, like, decorative. It's like a luchador mask.
Well, because, like, the venom went through his through tubes in the back of his skull.
Actually, oh my god. Batman Beyond?
He was a cripple in that.
Yeah, did he have a tube there or something to help him breathe because of the venom?
It was a respirator to, like, just literally help him breathe oxygen.
He was like an old man in a hospital.
Yeah, but I'm saying you said you'd never seen it before, and I was just giving you
meaning like as like Bane in a costume, like a Bane that fights a Batman or a Gordon, like this idea that like Bane needs this Darth Vader mask to breathe, that is like purely from the Nolan movies.
Yes, agreed. So that was already, I already saw that coming because I saw the promo pictures. So that was already, disappointing. But I understood because that is the most popular version of Bane and the most, easy to recognizable version of Bane. So I wasn't like, I was disappointed, but I was still like, well, of course they're going to do this, you know? And then it's just really bad.
Tom Hardy. Wow. Here we go. Shane West spoiled like a few things in this episode. Like he said in an interview months ago, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be working for Ra's al Ghul's daughter, just like I was in The Dark Knight Rises." And I saw that interview, and I was like, "Wow." I can't believe that like you spoil like Jamie Murray's true identity in this like random magazine interview. And that interview was not really shared a lot. So like there were still people like doing theories about like who Jamie Murray was going to be before. And I was like, oh, okay, like the secret's out there. But
and Mark Ruffalo patted him on his back. Good job, brother.
Yeah.
all in his backflip.
And then as we established, I think when we did Penguin Our Hero, I talked about this, but like John Stevens like said at the New York Comic-Con panel, he's like, "Oh yeah, and Bane's gonna break Alfred's back in an episode that's airing in like 6 months." So
you said that, and I remember you saying that,
and I remember your reaction to that.
Was I mad?
A little bit.
No, I think it was.
You were pretty mad.
Was I?
Yeah.
I
remember this pretty well. which was fair because like we had a discussion about why did he say that? Why did Steven say that in the first place? Because it was public knowledge, but then also wasn't. It was. I guess we cut out the episode. Well, the whole thing. Interesting about the whole breaking Alfred's back thing. Like that's kind of the same thing with like Bane. It's like oh my god, he broke someone's back. Like that's not the same thing as either the Dark Knight Rises or the comic books, where like that was meant to be kind of a rise and fall thing. We're not going to get Nights In with Alfred wearing the Jean Paul costume. So like, again, it's fan service, but it's like it's very superficial.
I don't really mind that his back got broken, but when it got broken, I was like, oh wait, yeah, no, I knew this was going to happen, and I couldn't remember where.
Joshua Labin-Berdoni.
Oh god. No, but
this just down. Alfred goes to the hospital yet again.
Oh man, but like I literally gasped because I knew it was coming. For some reason I knew like it was coming, and then it happened and I was like, oh, okay, well I guess I can't actually break Bruce's back two episodes from the end. So
he becomes Oracle.
Get me Chandra, however you say her last name.
Kinsolving. Well, also like you notice that like Shane West could actually not break him over his knee, like because his knee's too skinny. So he's like, I'll just take this telephone pole here, and yeah, that gets the job done. But Alfred's like a very, very strong old man. I mean, how many times has he been near death and just been just fine? Like he's a very powerful 70-something-year-old guy.
You also have to think about like not only that, he couldn't do that with that stupid outfit on. Like that whole chess piece, he can't move in that thing. He has absolutely no mobility. That's why he was mostly kicking Gordon. Like, it wasn't a tactical vest like it was on Tom Hardy, where he had learned to move with the muscles that he'd gained. It was this big piece of plastic stuck to his chest.
And that's why he looked and sounded stupid. Again, like all fairness to Shane West. Shane West did the best he could for what he was hired for. It's just, why did you clowns think that this is going to pass my mustard? I don't know.
I don't know. It's just a really bad rendition of... Like, I loved everyone else in this episode. Even Fisheye General Wade. But... Because fish have that second... No, frogs have that second eyelid that clicks like that.
Yeah.
So, even with that, I was like, okay, whatever, Hugo Strange. And... Hugo, my love.
Oh my god.
Bane is your biggest disappointment. I've never been. So, like, I was upset that you had brought Fish Mooney back, but not as upset as I am with what you did with Bane.
It's going to be quite painful, and I'm afraid quite lengthy. And he's just trying to hide his boner as he's saying that. It's so good.
Yeah, no, I got turned on when he said that.
Also, I've given you the DNA of a cuttlefish for reasons.
I have gentle cuttlefish. Give us that cuttle. That's actually from the Venture Brothers.
You'll never get away with this, Strange.
In a desperate attempt to solve the understanding of peace and love. Well, I mean, my favorite part in the episode, and arguably the series, is when, like, Hugo Strange tries to just mess with Gordon, and Ben McKenzie's eyes bug out like he's a Ren and Stimpy character. I wanted him to yell like he did when he was in the electric chair. Like, that image...
I want to live!
Never fails to make me laugh.
Oh, God.
Yeah, at least we got some good Gordon this week.
Every time we get beat up in front of Duffy's house, that's funny.
You want to talk about Jim Gordon and being good when he is in the chair and he's all like, they used to bury me alive. I was the champion of that game. He's like, I'm sorry, you were a good soldier. I was like, who says that? He just told you people buried him alive for fun, and you were telling him he was useful? That's what I messaged you guys with. Who wrote this? This is a terrible attempt to comfort him. This is absolutely terrible.
Jim Gordon doesn't exactly have good bedside manner.
And then he just... I guess Eduardo's used to it, but I would have just sat there and stared at him. I probably would have just punched him again.
I'm going to enjoy killing your unborn child. That really makes me uncomfortable going after, like, a newborn. It's like, oh, I know that they're villains, but oh man, like.
I mean, it's Barbara Keane, so I didn't actually care. I know it's also Barbara Gordon, but
you're killing a baby.
I mean, that's definitely the threat. I mean, I don't know. If it was the Joker, maybe it would have been a little more threatening. But what's he gonna do? Like just like break her back? Like what? I don't know. Oh, speaking of ridiculous, I mean, we've gone half an hour without mentioning like Rumble Tumble Barbara on the wheelchair shooting everyone. And the fisheye camera angle is like, ah! I'm like, I'm watching this show.
That was peak Gotham.
Yeah, they turned her around, and then Lee turns her around, and she's like shooting, and I'm like,
now okay. This is pod racing.
Don sent us in our group chat like a video of him watching that part, and he said like very soberly, "This is happening." Like
it was ridiculous. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's bad. It was like the fisheye lens of her like double barreling like these like 45s shooting League of Assassin members with complete accuracy as she's like in screaming labor. Sorry, go ahead.
To be fair, she was trained by the League of Shadows, by Ra's al Ghul
I hate that
himself.
excuse. That doesn't mean that she's the best ever.
It also doesn't mean that you could like shoot people while you're going into labor.
And
The funny thing, and I'm not a childbirth expert, so like maybe this is something that happens all the time, but like Barbara was in the hospital having her contractions while she was standing up and like in high heels. Like she's standing on both of her feet, she's in high heels, and she's leaning on the wall. And Lee's like, "Let me get you some ice chips." And I'm like, take off your high heel shoes and get on that bed that's right there.
Her high heels are the same thing as Gordon's tie.
If she's always wearing high heel shoes, then she feels more comfortable wearing those than flats, okay? I know people who can't wear flats and walk because they're always in high heel shoes.
Fair enough, but like she's pushing a human being out of her body.
Here's the thing. The natural way to give birth is not horizontally. The only reason that worked is because people started doing that because there was a king who had a bunch of mistresses and wanted to watch the babies born. And the best way for him to do that, like the most comfortable way, is for him to sit down and for them to lay down. You're actually supposed to be vertical and push it out onto like someone catches it underneath you.
Wow.
Yeah. You're welcome. History lesson learned.
Who says we don't need women on this podcast?
This is like Adam ruins everything.
Yeah, it was a man whose idea was it for a woman to lay down like that, and it actually puts more strain on the body that way.
There's a great line from Crazy
Women
Girlfriend.
are more in pain when they're on their back than when they're standing. Like weird reference, but if you've watched Dances with Wolves, if you look at the native women, there's a native woman who shows giving birth, and she literally just squats and then just makes a motion saying like the baby just comes out, and then she's like, and she makes like some sort of motion like telling the Kevin Costner that then she just goes on with the rest of her day. I'm just saying.
There's a great line from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend when one of the characters is pregnant and like her right to like pain-killing medicines was waived. She's like, "What man wrote that?" And then guy's like, "Hello." He like kind of just waves away. I was actually like still complaining about like the whole, she has League of Assassins training. I can't stand that excuse that like, that means she can beat anybody, including other League of Assassins members who's been in the League of Assassins probably longer than she has. It's just like, all right, I call it white privilege.
Or were they army people?
They were army people.
Yeah.
I thought they were like working for, because wasn't Walker posing for as an army person?
She was, but like because when she says I've lost everything, like I don't have anything anymore, like that made me wonder, like, so does she not have the League of Assassins anymore?
The funny thing about that is that like I get why they didn't use Talia, and I'm forever grateful. Ugh.
Yeah, same.
But that being said,
lost my mind.
I mean, she could have played a terrific Talia if need be in a better medium or a better thing. But like that being said,
she was maybe and not British.
Yeah, true. That being said, didn't Nissa actually kill Ra's al Ghul in Death and the Maidens? Isn't that what happened? She's crowing on.
It was Nissa and Talia together.
She was like, "Oh, my father, I'm so angry. I'm going to beat up Jim Gordon because I'm so sad." She fucking killed Ra's al Ghul in the comic books.
Are you trying to tell me that Gotham's not being accurate to the comics?
I'm trying to say that when they aren't accurate, it's funny.
I have no idea. I don't know anything about Nissa. I just know that she was in Arrow, I think.
She was played by Katrina Law, and Talia was in Arrow too.
Well, Katrina Law's mixed, so.
Does that mix of what ethnicity? I think she's still like part Eastern.
And she was a major character on Arrow. She was like married to I mean, and it was like a League of Assassins marriage, but like she marries Stephen Amell for like a few seasons.
Arrow's also ending next year.
Yeah, with like their entire cast not sticking around for like the very end, which is weird.
Felicity's leaving by the end of this year.
Yeah, Felicity and Eva Laurel and like stuff like that. It's like, oh man, like
Japanese, German, and Indian or Italian.
Katrina Law.
Huh?
Okay. I liked the birth of Batgirl. Like that did make me happy as like a fanboy. Like, hooray! And we already know what the name of the baby's going to be because like that's been spoiled in like future Food on Critic stuff.
True. But
like
as you say though, like,
it's not really a spoiler. Like, there's only one reason why this baby is being born, and it's being born to be Barbara Gordon.
Yeah, exactly. Like who else could it be? I did posit. What if it's not? I mean, but they would never. I mean, outside of the comic books, no one knows or cares that she has like two brothers.
Yeah, like I'm trying to be careful around Jan for spoilers, but I don't think that Jan's going to care if I say the baby's going to be Barbara Gordon. Like
that's the obvious, unless it's suddenly Helena Wayne.
That would just be questionable.
Why are you giving your baby the last name? Why are you giving your baby the last name Wayne, Barbara? You'll see.
Because which one of them is a Wayne, Gordon or Barbara Keene? Like, who are you forcing into Batman's timeline?
Either. What happens is, like, Bruce becomes, like, independent, and then, like, what happens is Alfred needs another person to protect, and then there's the baby, and then they hide it from everyone in plain sight by saying her name is Helena Wayne, and then she will be Bruce's like kid sister that no one like cousin that no one knew about, and then nobody will attack her because she's no longer attached to like Jim.
Well, you are never allowed to make fun of any of my theories ever.
Look at the time; it's Scotch o'clock.
Look. This has been a long time coming. You have been doing this every episode for the last, 5 years.
That is true.
It is a point, though, because we have been speculating since Season 1, Episode 1, when will Barbara Gordon be born? So this is kind of it. And now that the moment's passed, it's like, yeah, that happened. I don't know what we were expecting.
I like it. And I like the friendship between Barbara and Lee, because delivering new life into the world is something that will bond you, even if your relationship with that person is not the best relationship as it is with Barbara and Lee, just in that moment, forgetting all the BS of the past, there is new life that I don't want to say Lee created the life, but Lee helped bring into this world, and that is a special thing. So I love them sitting on the floor together, crying, being all emotional before Eduardo comes and ruins the moment. I really dig their friendship. I'm sorry.
I did not mean to yell. It's just that every time I hear it, I have to yell. No, I actually really like their current. She's like, you can stay here. I mean, we can be chill and take care of the baby.
We could even kick Jim out of the equation and raise the baby together.
A lot of people who want that.
I'm sure there's fan fiction.
Oh, I mean, how long was it ago when I went on our archives or whatever it's called, and looked up Gotham erotic fan fiction and Archives of Our Own, and most of it was Zaz. That actually surprised me. Although it probably shouldn't have.
I mean, have you seen him? He's dreamy.
There are plenty of dreamy men on this show, like Sean Pertwee, for instance.
10-10 would bang.
he ranks 10 out of 10. Now, I mean, it's funny because we're having a lot of fun with this, but Jan, you said that you hated this episode. Is it mainly because of Bane?
It was just written so badly. There's just so much in this episode that was so... It's my least... I've been super excited up until this point. Every episode except for what's her name? Barbara, I've been giving mostly nothing but praise. And then we get to this one and I'm like, Bane, why?
That was me with the last episode. I thought last episode, just on a pure writing level, was particularly poor. Oh, it was Ben McKenzie who wrote it, okay.
But at least it was directed by Aaron Richards.
My favorite director.
I dream sequence episodes, but also Jamie Murray had way too much clothes on. I'm so used to seeing her in everything.
What was it? Fright Night 3 or something?
Yeah, Fright Night 3, and she was the vampire, and I was like, I don't really like this one. And you're like, it's better than the last one because of her boobs.
we watched that specifically because I found out she was in it.
Yeah, because I made you sit through the first two, the original and the remake.
Well, the original and the original sequel. And then like the remake with David Tennant.
I was so sad. Antonio, I miss you.
Oh, that's actually a pretty good movie. I think I remember seeing that being a good movie. I'm sorry that Jamie Murray's chewing scenery here. Like, this is not like their most subtle appearance, but I don't care. it's all good.
He was solid.
We got to talk about how like when they say Ray shall cool, like the music comes on.
It really is kind of like Haji's in the background, playing his recorder. Like it is that kind of music.
It really is.
And I don't know how to feel about that because it's not like they really affect it. He didn't really talk about his past a lot.
Yeah, but you can tell what he. Never mind.
No.
He's been alive for centuries, so like Ross could have kids running around. There could be in fact, like remember that interview with Sadiq where like I said to him like, "Are we gonna get a Talia?" And he's like, "A what?"
You called me that. I was crossing the street with Harrison Chute, and I said the actor who plays Rashad Ghul has no idea that he also has a daughter. And I think Harry took off his glasses and just like rubbed his eyes, like, "Oh my god." I remember that. Listen to Kino Way.
And then you guys told me, you guys were like, Chan, and I'm like, nope.
Well, you and I watching a movie starring Alexander Siddiq just as a kind of a preview for how he's going to turn out. And again, better writing would have been fine.
You watched it as a preview to how it would turn out. I'd already seen him in parts of, was it Deep Space Nine?
Yeah, when he was much younger.
He was also in Peaky Blinders as an artist. God, was he sexy. And he was also in Prime Evil, which is a British show about time traveling, and there's like tears in the fabric of space and time, and like dinosaurs come into the modern world and stuff like that, and they basically go around trying to stop all of that. And it's really cool because at the end of the first season, I'm going to spoil you, so if you don't want to hear it, you can like skip about 10 seconds.
Bane breaks his back.
The guy goes into the past to get his ex-wife, who he thought was dead, comes back, and then instead of being like a small group of people that know about it, he comes back to a time reality where they have an actual whole government facility. So they basically just upgraded it over a weekend.
Zoinks!
Due to the time paradox or the time shift or whatever. So I was like, dude, that is a really cool way to do that. You don't have to explain anything. You just come back to a reality where everything's set up. Like, they literally didn't explain anything. He just came into the reality, and the ARC Center was there.
It's a way to do things. I don't know there was timeline issues in that show.
I was a little, like... Nissa goes up to, like, Barbara at the Sirens and, like, strokes the baby and looks at the baby and says, "I see you knew my father." And I'm like, are they trying to, like, imply that Roz is the father, but that math does not check out at all?
The father of who?
The baby.
The father of the baby.
Nissa strokes the baby and says, I see you knew my father, like, you boned him and he put a baby in you.
Yeah, like, I was like, is that what the shit, like, and obviously we know that's not, like, that is a homeless baby right there.
He just used himself.
So I don't know if, like, the show was trying to, like, put that idea in our heads or like, what that was, or if I just misinterpreted what they were doing.
I thought it was a power move. Like, you can't do anything, look at me touch your baby.
That makes the most sense out of everything else, because it's because they weren't even, there's just the way that biology works, there wouldn't be enough time for that to be
except there's a magical glowing hand.
Yeah. That'd been funny if when Nissa touches the baby and the baby glows.
It would have been funny.
I would have laughed. I would have been like, it's a glowing Barbara Gordon.
I can't wait to hear Don kill himself.
That's That's not even funny. I shouldn't have laughed at that.
It's a little funny.
It's a little funny.
That was a terrible suicide joke. Although accurate. Which is the only reason I left.
Must be said, though. Okay. I will say that when I first saw the ending, I was genuinely like, it was a genuine like, holy crap! I didn't see this coming. How are they going to get out of this one? Because it looks like Gotham is just a nuked to hell and back.
Yeah.
I'm sure those bombs will be
like, wow. Oh, okay.
That is one of their better cliffhangers. I will say that.
I mean, the thing about No Man's Land in that, like, it is when it comes up in serious conversation, the realism of the government actually shutting down an American city and leaving it to die like that is pretty non-existent. Actually bombing a part of America, that's also non-existent. And I know, it's got the right respect. But, like, I don't know.
That's even, like, I was watching it like, are you serious?
And for some reason, Gordon's on the plane.
This is so over the top. I have to, like, literally, I had to separate my my logic centers from what was happening in order to accept everything that happened in this episode. I haven't had to do that since last season.
Another funny thing about the 2 extra episodes being ordered is at the end of Ace Chemicals, it's like, oh no, the river is toxic. The government will never reunify us. And like, if this episode would have aired next, it would have been like, hooray, we got all the toxins out of the river. Reunification's happening. Like, that took no time at all. Except for, like, the giant time skip.
Yep.
I mean, there's one episode left before the 10-year time skip finale, right?
Yeah.
We have to save,
so, like, the next episode is the grand finale of, like the current storyline.
We have to save Gotham. We have to bring back. We have to defeat Shane West. We have to defeat Nyssa. We have to get Penguin and Riddler presumably out of. I mean, no, actually, we don't have to do that. We have to have Bruce Wayne, decide to go train throughout the world, or and train to become Batman. Same thing with Selena Kyle. She has to I must put on a cat costume and become Catwoman. We have to get Gordon a mustache. We have to reestablish a status quo between. I know that Alfred was trying to have Wayne Manor rebuilt, which is interesting.
Yeah.
What if?
And Selena's all like, you don't need to make it exactly the same. He's like, shut up. He turned into Dawn.
And or Josh.
What if, we're all assuming that No Man's Land is getting solved next episode. What if, in the 10-year time skip, Gotham's been No Man's Land for 10 years? And that's why Bruce leaves.
He abandons Gotham City, just like he did in the comics.
Yeah! It's comics accurate.
I mean, he tried.
When he goes up to the League for, years.
Yeah.
In space.
I mean, that's probably not what's going to happen, but it's just a funny thought that I have. We're all assuming that everything must be set up and ready, for the 10-year time jump, but it doesn't have to go like that.
Nope.
Gotham can do anything because at the end of the day we'll just say it's just Gotham. What were you expecting? Watchable quality? I don't think so.
Well, so even though those extra 2 episodes,
sometimes it's watchable quality.
I mean, this episode did have Jamie Murray and Hugo Strange.
Yes. It had Jamie Murray and her oppressed boobies. I'm really sad about this. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been so much
I think the only thing I haven't seen her boobs in is Warehouse 13.
Well, she was in was it, I think Josh said that she saw her in the show Dexter.
Yeah, there were boobs all over it.
Oh, I probably forgot about this. Was she Lila in Dexter?
Yeah. And then what's her face? His sister called her the lady.
Oh man, she was a horrible person. And then Dexter, like, oh my gosh. Like, let me put it this way. Dexter is a show about a serial killer who hunts other serial killers. And in a show about serial killers that hunts other serial killers, she stood out as a really horrible person. Oh, in fact, he
was a good guy who killed bad guys.
Do you remember Maroney from season 1? She
Yes.
framed Maroney was also on Dexter as a regular. She frames Maroney for like raping her.
Yep. Anywho,
This means that in an alternate universe, Nissa Al Ghul and like Boss Maroney were a couple.
Anywho, in that show though, I really liked her at the beginning, and then she did the one thing that made me go, yeah, you just I can't support you anymore. And she did some really batshit stuff in that show.
What did she do that upset you?
She tried to kill the kids.
Like in this episode?
Just like in this episode?
Yeah. Yeah, but it was a different thing. She was literally trying to kill them so that she could have Dexter all to herself, because she noticed that he cared about them. She's basically a yandere.
Good word.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, cool. All right. Separated from everyone else. Whatever. Oh, you done fucked up. I can't even. No, he gonna kill you.
Well, and it was messed up what she did to like Maroney and stuff too. Like, because that was like for like revenge on Dexter to like, you know, frame like his innocent friend.
Yep.
And but she did kill Dokes, which helped everything.
Really
No, not Dokes. He's always with a surprise.
Okay, I was about to explain who he was to you, but yeah.
He only said it one time.
But it was the best time. All rise, motherfucker. Small fries, motherfucker.
Hot eyes, motherfucker. Yeah,
There's always a point in the show where like we stop talking about the episode. Do we have any other like? Because I think that there's just really the one plot line. Like the city's reunifying, Bane's messing stuff up.
Bruce has to become like he has to be more than just wearing his stupid hair and his long jacket. Like there has to be a lot more than this. He's never had like this moment that says I must become something more. Like no bat came into his window.
Bruce is on his way to a Marge Simpson cosplayer party.
Is he like breaking into Jim's stash to get his hair that high? I was so confused. It should literally be like hanging down his face like an emo kid because he can't even get a haircut.
It's no man's land, but everyone is as groomed as ever.
Yeah.
I mean, like, in real life, like Mazao has like his hair like, you know, kind of like combed and, you know, human.
I saw him last week at WonderCon, and his hair was perfectly like his hair was kind of like curly, like it.
You need to just send me normal pictures of him whenever you see him. Just be like, boop, here you go. Here's him with normal hair, and I'll be like, thank you.
I put a video on Twitter of him like telling a story. I'm trying to remember what the story was, but he was telling some story about like Batman, and I put it on Twitter. Like the video of the Happy Birthday Batman panel, and it was awesome because like they gave out Batman cupcakes to everyone, and then this was like really honestly like surreal, but like they brought out this giant Batman cake, and they had the entire panel saying "Happy Birthday to you," and then like they're like "Happy Birthday, dear Batman," and I'm like, we're all singing "Happy Birthday" to and I get that yes, Batman exists in our heart, and Batman's the reason we're all here, but like. We're all singing happy birthday to someone who's not only not in the room, but they're like a fictitious character, and there's a cake. This is really strange. And like sitting 20 feet in front of me is like Kevin Conroy and like Dobby Mazouz and like a host of other people, and they're singing it too. Like this is I'm not mad. I'm not saying this was stupid, but that was one of the weirdest experiences of my life.
I feel like the word you're looking for is bizarre.
Yeah, like, and I'm not saying we shouldn't have done that, or I'm not saying it was stupid, but I'm just saying, like, it's really weird. It's like, oh, and it's Batman's birthday, and here's a giant cake, and now you're singing Happy Birthday with like the cast of Batman
and every Batman ever.
Yeah, and a few of the recent, because like
Mackenzie in there waiting for Mario to pop out of the Batman cake.
JC shoots him. I would have like live streamed that, and I've been like, you're never gonna believe what happened at WonderCon today.
The actor who played Mario came out of the cake.
You lie! Do I?
Do I? Which is funny because we saw Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that day. There was another funny Gotham WonderCon story where like we were sitting at the round tables to record actually Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and before like the cast showed up, one of like the other reporters had not seen Gotham since season 1, and he was like asking like me and the other guy like questions about what happened. And he really thought we were messing with him. He's like, well, what about Lee? What happened to her? It's like, oh, she and the Riddler robbed banks together because they were having sex. What? Oh my God. Does that mean Jim got back together with Barbara? Oh, just for a one-night stand. Barbara was with Ra's al Ghul, and she became the leader of the Demon's Head because she had a glowing magic hand.
Every time you say that, I'm like, end this show faster than it is.
And then like, we talked about like so much stuff that happened. It's like, but Lee was such a good person. Yeah, and then she released a virus across an entire city. Why?
Yeah.
Oh, she was mad at Gordon for ruining the honeymoon. How did he ruin the honeymoon? I'm glad you asked. And like this guy,
this is all in one episode.
This guy thought we were lying to him.
I'm gonna put it past Gotham to put all of that in one episode.
Anyway, though,
I'm ready to end this. Actually, yeah, I didn't see the trailer for it.
I didn't either.
Let's see. The next episode is called "They Did What."
We complained about Bane. We talked about the back breaking. We complained about Jim. We made fun of Barbara.
I kind of like the stakes being so high.
I mean, this is definitely the highest that they have been ever.
Can you send that to the actual
Facebook group?
Yeah, because I'm talking to you on my phone because it's better when I'm on my data versus on my actual internet.
Yeah, and I'm pulling up Futon Critic while Don does that. But yeah, I like the stakes being so high. Like the city's destroyed, and like it's a baby's being born. Like this is, and like Nissa's here. Like it does feel like they're gearing up towards like a finale. So I do like that. The next episode is called "They Did What?" and it's written.
That's what every episode should be called.
And it's written by our friend Z Chun, who like I remember on Twitter, he's like, I have no clue what to call my final episode that I'm writing, and he finally settled on "They Did What." As Byrne enacts his final plans for Gotham's destruction. It's already destroyed. Gordon rallies his former enemies to save the city. Meanwhile, Nissa Al Ghul, guest star Jamie Murray, kidnaps Barbara's newborn daughter with ambitions to raise her as her own.
Of course.
Then Bruce's decision to leave Gotham points him to his destiny. While devastating Selina, they're really putting that in this. Wow. Okay. While devastating Selina in the all-new "They Did What?" episode of Gotham, which is airing April 18th. Guest stars Shane West as Eduardo Durant / Bane, Jamie Murray as Walker / Nissa Al Ghul.
Why do you say Walker?
Because that's what Gordon's like, Walker. David Carranza as Angel Valuenga.
I don't remember. Who is that?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't remember that character at all.
Dude, he's been in every episode since Bane showed up.
Oh, the bird guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Angel.
Of course. Kelsey
Am
Griffin
I the only one who notices Latinos?
Kelsey Griffin as Detective Harper. John Bedford Lloyd as General Wade. Ann Harada as Mayor. And last but not least, the star of the show.
Pretty least.
No, not least. He'll save the city or destroy it. J.W. Cortez as Detective Alva fucking Rez.
Alvarez.
Hey!
Alvarez comes in at the last minute, like, guys, I have this jump drive. It'll save the
and then
city.
they just right off into the sunset.
His happiness is all we need.
Yes, exactly.
Him and Zaz together forever.
Exactly. That's all I need. That'll be end of the entire show.
As they're on a horse.
I said a motorcycle. We need to stay modern.
It's about time. So as we can see by the trailer, we're finally going to get that scene from the first episode, except it's daytime, and I was really confused because when I saw footage from that a few months ago from the dailies and production people, I was like, oh, it's daytime, but it was night when they did that. Oh well, maybe when the episode actually airs, they'll do something to make it look like it's night in post-production. But no, it's daytime. But that's okay. That's still an epic scene of everyone coming together to fight on the Great Wall of China.
I'm glad to hear that that we're having some reasons to why Bruce is leaving Gotham. I hope that won't be stupid. I just realized this city is in danger. This is why if it's I need to protect the city by leaving it. It's okay, that's predictable and lazy.
Yeah, they put a very big moment from the episode in the solicitation, and I'm actually surprised that they did that, but oh well. That's Futon Critic. Well, actually, Futon Critic doesn't write those. Fox and WB do. Futon Critic just post them, and they usually have it up first and organized, so I go with their site. Any other thoughts?
We are nearly at the end.
I just think it's BS. I think they said that Bane is enacting his plan. That's not his plan. It's Nissa's plan.
Any predictions?
Predictions? Pain for myself.
Yeah.
Hugo Strange and Alvarez were the same person the entire time.
That would explain so much.
No, it wouldn't. It would have some more questions.
We would need another season.
Undying love for both of them.
So until next time, this is... I was going to do some sort of Eduardo joke, but I got... this is Josh.
This is Josh.
Sorry.
This is Jan.
Januardo.
We already did that at the beginning.
But it was awesome. And you've been listening for the third to last time the Gotham... Actually, we'll do extra episodes, but for the third to last episode of the Gotham Chronicle podcast. No.
What now, Jim? Son, if you're gonna stick a gun in my face, you should at least know you're doing it wrong. Come on, let's go.